Good morning, friends, and welcome to 2022. Today we'll explore with Michael Macklin a short passage known as the Truth of One Song. This expresses a foundational concept of Won and Buddhism and will help us along our paths of awakenings. So may we all begin 22 with open beginner's mind. Thank you. And now, if you'd like to join us in 10 direction bowing, please do.
As we begin a new year, let us send our blessings and greetings to our family, friends, and all beings through 10 direction bowing. We are first going to bow to heaven above and earth beneath, and then we bow in all 8 cardinal directions by slowly turning. As you bow, notice the rhythm of your breath. Happy New Year to the sky. Happy New Year to the earth. Happy New Year to all beings in the Northwest. Happy New Year to all beings in the North. Happy New Year to all beings in the Northeast. Happy New Year to all beings in the East. Happy New Year to all beings in the Southeast. Happy New Year to all beings in the South. Happy New Year to all beings in the Southwest. Happy New Year to all beings in the West. Meditation is simple and easy. Anyone can practice it. Please take time to find your most comfortable position on the floor or in a chair. Breathe in, grab all your attention. Breathe out, release any mental or physical uneasiness. Relax your whole body and let your mind's eye focus on belly breathing. Breathe and listen to your body. Gradually sit up tall, gently straighten your spine, without losing focus on the energy in your lower abdomen. Open your eyes softly and look straight ahead with a level gaze. Let your eyelids relax and drift downward to their most comfortable place. While keeping your ears softly aligned with your shoulders, tuck your chin in slightly and let your shoulders melt away from your ears. Bring your awareness to your tongue. Place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth. While your tongue is relaxed on your palate, pure and clear saliva may gather in the mouth. This is a delightful sign of cool energy ascending. Smile at your calm and clear spirit. Invite your awareness to return to your lower abdomen, your Qi energy field. This is called the Tanjan and is located about 2 inches below your navel. Your Tanjan is the power center for your breathing. Scan your entire body to see if there is any tension, especially in your face and head, neck and shoulders. If your face or body begins to itch, simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be disturbed by them. Do not react to your thoughts or pursue them. Recognize that they are just thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. Continue to bring your awareness back to your Tanjan abiding breath. When your mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused, and at peace, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation. You will no longer feel any distinction between yourself and others, finding yourself free from the limits of time and place. May we be here now, deeply aware of our ever calm, ever alert spirit. are one, we are whole. We 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 are one, we are whole.
The truth of Ilwan song. Ilwan, one circle, is the original source of all things in the universe, the mind seal of all the Buddhas and sages, and the original nature of all sentient beings. It is the realm where there is no discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being. The realm where there is no change amid arising and ceasing, coming and going. The realm where wholesome and unwholesome karmic consequences have ceased. The realm where language, names, and signs are utterly void. Through the light of the void and calm, numinous awareness, the discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being, appears, whereupon the distinction between wholesome and unwholesome karmic consequences comes into being. Language, names, and signs also become obvious, so that the triple worlds in the 10 directions appear like a jewel in hand. Thus, the creative transformations of true voidness and marvelous existence freely conceal and reveal themselves through all things in the universe, throughout vast eons without beginning. This is the truth of Ilwan Song.
Today we are going to practice Sutra 일원상 Bao, first in Korean and then in English. When you listen to the chant in Korean, you can relax, feel the vibration, the energy. The chant in Korean is actually one sentence, 365 letters. 교무님s and temple members in our room, Dharma room, will chant. You can just close your eyes, or relax, enjoy. And when we chant in English, please join us. 일원상 서원문 일원은 언어도 다내 입정처유 유무초월우 생사무님 천지부모동포법률의 본원이유 제불도사범구중생의 성품으로 능히 성유성하고 능히 성무성하여 유성으로 불면상두불별로 여여자연하여 무량세계를 전개하였고 무상으로 보면 우주의 성주괴공과 만물의 생로병사와 사생의 신신작용을 따라 육도로 변화를 시켜 혹은 진급으로 혹은 강급으로 혹은 은생어해로 혹은 내생어은으로 이와 같이 무량세계를 전개하였나니 우리 어리석은 중생은 입업신불일원상을 제받아서 심신을 원만하게 수호하는 공부를 하며 또는 사리를 원만하게 하는 공부를 하며 또는 심신을 원만하게 사용하는 공부를 지성으로 하여 진급이 되고 은혜 눈이 불지언정 강급이 되고 해독은 입지 아니하기로서 일원의 위력을 얻도록 하리서 원하고 일원의 죄성에 합하도록
Sangha. Ilwan is the realm of samadhi beyond words and speech, the gateway of birth and death, transcending being and non-being, the origin of heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings, and lost the true nature of all Buddhas, enlightened masters, unenlightened people, and sentient beings. Till one manifests as both permanence and impermanence, viewed as permanence, till one unfolds into an infinite world that is ever abiding, spontaneous, just as it is, viewed as impermanence, till one unfolds into infinite worlds through the cycle of formation, duration, decay, and extinction of the universe, and the birth, aging, illness, and death of all beings, according to how we use our minds and bodies. In the four forms of birth we transform through the 6 realms of existence, progressing or regressing, with grace arising from harm or harm from grace. Therefore we unawakened beings vow to practice wholeheartedly, modeling ourselves after Ilwan Sangha, Dharma, Kaya, Buddha, by cultivating our minds and bodies deeply, knowing human affairs and universal principles thoroughly, and using our minds and bodies skillfully, thus progressing rather than regressing, and receiving grace rather than harm, until we attain the great empowerment of Ilwan and become one with the nature of Ilwan.
We are going to join through cyberspace. And a good thing, you don't have to drive, you don't have to even fly if you live far away. I heard from several members that I've got big shoes to fill.
Who is that nice looking guy I see staring straight back at me?
Thank you for being so kind. 감사합니다.
Today, a long-time practitioner and our dear Dharma friend Michael Macklin, Won Hyung, is going to share his contemplation and reflection on the truth of 일원상. Let us practice deep listening, and when Michael concludes his talk, please feel free to post your comments and reflections in the live chat.
Good morning and Happy New Year. I'm going to speak to you today about a passage in the Red Book called The Truth of Ilwan-Song. And I wanted to speak about it because of how interesting and important it has been to me. When I first read it, and when the Red Book first came out, I was totally enchanted with it. And the reason was that at that time, my understanding in Mahayana Buddhism that there were two truths. The conventional truth that we live in and the ultimate truth that often was spoken of as emptiness. And conventional truth was equated with samsara, the round of suffering, and ultimate truth was equated with nirvana. And when I read this passage, I realized that didn't seem to be the way Sotaesan saw it. That in fact, he described these two truths in this passage as I understood it at the time, without labeling them that way, but ends up near the end saying, so that the triple worlds and the 10 directions appear like a jewel in hand. And I thought, well, if that's conventional reality, it sure sounds pretty good to me. So over the years, I've continued to reflect on this passage, and I feel like it's become more and more complicated over time, more deeper, and I have more questions about it than I did originally, but not to change my original impression. So as I talk to you today, I think what I'm going to be saying might either be confusing or be filled with questions, because I think one way of thinking about this truth of Ilwan-Song is like a koan or a wadu that we don't find answers in as much as we find inspiration and questions, and that by examining each sentence, each line, we'll often be left with, well, what does that mean? Why does it go that way? Some sense that because Sote-san wrote it this way, at least I think, and that it's in this language, that we can trust in it without necessarily understanding it, but seek inspiration and realization in it. And I think the deeper our realization, which I'm looking forward to someday, the more sense it would make to us. So let's start out. Let's start with a caveat. In the Ilwan Sangval, the first line is, Ilwan is the realm of samadhi beyond words and speech. That line, beyond words and speech, often seems very important to me when we're trying to seek ultimate truth. It's beyond words and speech, and so we stumble around with it and hope that someday we realize it beyond words and speech. At least I hope to. So, here we go. Ilwan, one circle, is the original source of all things in the universe. Right there, wow. So I was reading a little bit in another book, the Purple Book, and the author there pointed out that one circle, Ilwan, one circle, means a circle with no circumference, an infinite circumference. I thought that was kind of interesting, and gives the power that's invested in this symbol that we shouldn't confuse with the symbol itself, but rather that's the truth of what the symbol stands for. So the original source of all things in the universe, gosh, I don't know what to think about that. The original source. I guess that original source is present now. It's present in the beginning. It'll be present in the end. Everything comes from it. The mind seal of all the Buddhas and sages and the original nature of all sentient beings. So the mind seal could be thought of as the understanding that Buddhas and sages realize after practicing in deep realization and try to pass on to other sentient beings to gain, so that they can gain the same deep understanding beyond words. The realm where there's no discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being. So, what struck me about, and I'll go on a little bit, the realm where there's no change amid arising and ceasing, coming and going, the realm where wholesome and unwholesome karmic consequences have ceased, the realm where language, names, and signs are utterly void. So this seems like the permanent realm. This seems like the ultimate realm. And this reminds me of the passage in the Heart Sutra where it goes, no, 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 no. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. And it seems like at the same time, one thing that is really interesting to me and confusing is that it starts with know what there is. It's like he's saying these things exist: discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being, change amid arising and ceasing. And at the same time, Ilwan exists outside of that and inside of it. And then there's an unwholesome karmic. Wow, it's written in differently than in the Red Book. So in the Red Book it says, unwholesome karmic consequences has ceased. And I think that's such an interesting way to put it, and have ceased is also interesting, but has ceased makes it present. It has ceased right now. It's not something in the past, it's not something, in the future, it's right now. And then again, language, names, and signs are utterly void. I probably thought of a million more things to say about that, but I'm going to go on, because I've already forgotten them. And So here's the next big question that this raises for me. Okay, so through the light of the void and calm, numinous awareness, impermanent conventional reality comes about. Okay, and goes the discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being appears. Okay, so what does that mean? Through the light of the void and calm, numinous awareness. So it sounds like the void and calm, numinous awareness is like what we were talking about in the beginning. You know, void and calm. Maybe it's the numinous awareness. You know, maybe it's the idea that of illumination somehow creates the conventional realm. And he goes on and says, in contrast to the permanence, that discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being, appears, whereupon the distinction between wholesome and unwholesome karmic consequences comes into being. Language, names, and signs also become obvious. So here we are, we're going into the conventional realm, the stuff that, you know, we're trying to get away from in conventional Buddhism. But then he says, so that in the triple worlds and the 10 directions appear like a jewel in hand. That's such a beautiful description of conventional reality. And it fits so well, in my mind, with the teachings of the Fourfold Graces. That, you know, if reality that we live in is so horrible, well, what do we have to be grateful for? We just need to get out of it. It's all suffering. But no, I don't think that Sote-san saw it this way. And I think that, well, from what do I know? But it seems like there's something to be strongly considered there. And then he ends with this beautiful passage that seems to me to express something about how they go together. Thus, the creative transformations of true voidness and marvelous existence freely conceal and reveal themselves through all things in the universe, throughout vast eons without beginning. This is the truth of Ilwan Song. And along with the great description of the interpenetration of permanence and impermanence, that last line, vast eons without beginning, it answers the question of where do things start? Where do they come from? It doesn't start anywhere. It's always been there. It's always been going on. You know, we don't need a first cause because it's always been going on. It's very hard for me to understand, but at the same time, it certainly makes a lot of sense at the same time. So thank you for joining us and me this morning. Hopefully in the future, once again, I'll have a deeper understanding of this to share with you, but hopefully this is some understanding to pass on. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, so much for sharing such a rich materials for contemplation and reflection. The truth of Ilwan Song, it's so central to our practice of faith and our practice of threefold study as well. So deeply grateful for opening the new year with such a deep insights and contemplation. Thank you. Now you are invited to share your thoughts and takeaways in the live chat, and you're also welcome to simply sit in silence for a few minutes. thank you for joining us on this first Sunday of the new year. We look forward to practicing with you next week and many more this year. And now, please join us as we mindfully transition to the cleaning up meditation.
일원성화 Irwan is the realm of samadhi, beyond words and speech, the gateway of birth and death, transcending being and non-being. The origin of heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings and laws, the true nature of all Buddhas, enlightened masters, unenlightened people and sentient beings. One manifest as both permanence and impermanence. Viewed as permanence, one just as it is and ever abiding, naturally unfolds into an infinite world. Viewed as impermanence, one unfolds into infinite worlds through the cycle of formation, duration, decay, and extinction of the universe, and the birth, aging, illness, and death of all things. According to how we use our minds and bodies in the four forms of birth, we transform through the 6 realms of existence, progressing or regressing, allowing grace to arise from harm or harm from grace. We unawakened beings far to practice wholeheartedly, modeling ourselves after Ilwansang, the Dharmakaya Buddha, by cultivating our minds and bodies perfectly, knowing human affairs and universal principles perfectly, and using our minds and bodies perfectly, thus progressing rather than regressing, and receiving grace rather than harm, until we attain the great empowerment of Il One and become one with the nature of Il One. Il One Sang, one circle, symbolizes universal truth and one's true nature. Il One is the realm of samadhi beyond words and speech, the gateway of birth and death, transcending being and non-being, the origin of heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings, and laws, the true nature of all Buddhas, enlightened masters, unenlightened people, and sentient beings. Il One manifests as both permanence and impermanence, viewed as permanence. Il One just as it is and ever abiding, naturally unfolds into an infinite world. Viewed as impermanence, Il One unfolds into infinite worlds through the cycle of formation, duration, decay, extinction of the universe, and the birth, aging, illness, and death of all things. According to how we use our minds and bodies in the four forms of birth, we transform through the 6 realms of existence, progressing or regressing, allowing grace to arise from harm or harm from grace. We unawakened beings vow to practice wholeheartedly, modeling ourselves after Il One Sang, the Dharmakaya Buddha, by cultivating our minds and bodies perfectly, knowing human